In this video, we're going to go over some of our basic elements of proportionment. So first we have what we're going to call states, and these are going to be the parties having a stake in the apportionment. Now, to remember this, I think of the United States. So for our government, for example, Texas gets so many seats, California gets so many seats, and so on. So I tend to think of our actual states, but it can also be people, countries. One of our examples use planets. It could be companies. So any groups that are going to have a stake in the apportionment, that are going to get part of the seats. So that takes us to seats. And these are going to be the indivisible, I hope I spelled that right, the indivisible objects to be divided. Okay, among the states. So the important thing here is we can't split these up. If there's one seat in Congress, we can't split that one seat between more than one person. So when it says indivisible, we are looking at whole numbers. And on here, we're also going to assume that each state gets at least one seat. Okay, so nobody gets completely unrepresented, no matter how small they are. All right, next we have the population. This one we will use quite a bit. This refers to the total population of all the states. So total population of all states. And then for the individual states, if we do P sub A, for example, that means the population of state A. So P sub B would be the population of state B, and so on. So when we see P, we always want to think population. All right, our next big one that we're going to use a lot is standard divisor. And this is going to be the ratio of the total population to the number of seats. Now we're going to use this a lot in this lesson, so let's go ahead and write this as a formula. So I'm going to put SD for standard divisor. That's going to be total population divided by number of seats. Now if you look in the book, they like to use the letters. So they'll do P over M. I have trouble remembering what all the letters mean. So for this, I'm just going to think total population divided by number of seats. And the reason this is important is this tells us, there's my cat, how many people are represented by each seat. Okay, so if our standard divisor is 1,000, that tells us that each seat, maybe it's in government or something like that, each seat represents 1,000 people. So this one's important, and then the next one that we're gonna do is important. All right, so this is our quota. We're gonna spend a lot of time finding this in this section, and this is going to be the exact. Okay, so it can either be fractional or decimal. Generally, we'll do decimal in here. Number of seats each state deserves. Now we kind of did this on the first page where we found the amount of candy each one deserves. So the quota for state A will be the standard divisor. Nope, I just did that backwards. All right, let me do that again. My cat is laying on top of my notes, so it's kind of hard for me to see what I'm supposed to be doing. All right, cross all that out. We'll just come over here. Okay, so the quota of A is going to be the population of A divided by the standard divisor. Okay, so population of A, and then that's going to be our standard divisor. Now we get into a little bit of a problem here because we just said that when we do the seats that they're indivisible. So we can't have, here comes my cat, that's Samantha. Y'all all say hi to Samantha. She wants to lay down right next to my notes. That's beautiful. And there's her tail. All right, so come here, baby. Oh, she doesn't want to move. She wants to do math today. All right, so there she goes. All right, so back to math. So what we're going to get is we're going to get a part of the seat for the quota. So this is what they deserve, but we know the seats are indivisible. So we sort of have to figure out what to do with those partial seats, and we'll work on that a little bit in the next section. All right, the last two are really quick. Upper quota. This is the state's quota rounded up. And lower quota is the state's quota rounded down. We don't work with these a whole lot. We work more with lower quota than upper quota. So just for a quick example, let's say that I work a problem and I find that the quota of A is 128.37. So this means state A deserves 128.37 seats. Well, we can't give them a partial seat. So if we look at the upper quota, that would be rounding up to the next number of seats, which is 129. The lower quota, we would round that down, so it would round back down to 128. Okay, so as far as number of seats, we're going to have to choose right somewhere between those two.